just real quickly. Just show you guys what I've done so far. Everything looks good over there, and over here. Fantastic, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Remember, if you're watching over on YouTube, give me that thumbs up right away. Bang, hit that little thumbs up button. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you're tapping all the emojis along the bottom. And of course, if you're watching over on the talk, then tap the screen, share the live, do all the stuff you gotta do. Now, my friends, hey guys, all right. We're gonna take a little 1-inch brush. I'm gonna show you what I've done on this big old monster canvas. You ever get a big 24-inch by 30-inch canvas and you just don't know what to do on it? Here's what we're gonna do with just a few colors and a few tools, and that's it, right? Let me tell you what I've done so far. I'll show you everything. Okay, we've got these guys and that guy and this guy. Right, so initially I took the canvas, it comes white, right? And in order to make it black, I used Liquitex Black Gesso, which is an acrylic black paint, okay? It dries very quickly, and what I did was I put a stripe of tape across there, did the whole sky, took my tape off, and then kind of, while the little scrubber pad was still wet like that, used a little scrubber pad like this. This one doesn't have a handle, it's not as easy. We scrubbed down that black gesso until it just got very faint, and we left that one little white section. Okay, then, once it came time to paint this painting, just a few minutes ago, I put on my Bob Ross Liquid Clear across the entire thing, even the white, across the entire canvas, okay? Then I took one little bit, the smallest little dip into my Bob Ross Liquid White, right? And I put that in the white section in there. So now, we've got a little bit of our liquid white in the white part of our canvas, and that's all we're gonna need. Now, we're only gonna use a few colors on this painting, so I think we've got enough red right here. We'll find out. So now that we know what we've done to the canvas, let's go through the colors we're gonna use. We're gonna use our bright red, our dioxazine purple, the crimson from our Meaden set, or the Bob Ross crimson, and a little touch of blue. Doesn't matter, your Prussian blue is probably the best. It'll be nice and dark, or ultramarine blue is what I used. And then you can see we took our crimson and we lined it around the edge of this thing, kind of just barely getting it into the corners, and then took the purple and the blue up everywhere, right? Put a little bit more of our crimson down in here just so it's odd, and you should be able to see it through all these lights. All right, I've got lots of bright lights. Exactly, you can see every single thing right there, right? Now, make sure that you're telling me where you're watching from. What time is it where you are right now? We're gonna go into a little bit of our bright red and into that bright section and down into our darker section just to cover that bit of our black, right? So go through here, just like that, perfect. And then blend it up into that liquid white area. Now it's going to get bright very fast, right? You get that very deep dark red because the more we mix it with that liquid white, the more it will fade a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be so supremely dark. Then you can take some of that liquid white even up onto the brush and just start letting it mix out into these other colors out there, and you can see it brighten up a little bit of a hue over the top, right? Let's get a little bit more of that bright red. Just a little touch right into there. Start dumping it up into here. I'm gonna get a red sky, right? And if we need more paint, then we go get more paint, and we put more paint up there and spread it out. That's all we're trying to do. Now, you can spread it all the way to the edges if you want, and then we'll come back in with the little bit of purpley bits. But just like that, and you can see where our black canvas is. We didn't get covered all the way, and automatically it starts looking like a cloud already. Right now, let's say if we were up into this area and we don't want to use a whole bunch of white, we don't want to even dip our brush into white because there's so much color here. Right? What if we came up like this and just started to scrub in just a little thing, just a little guy, right? We could always go back and blend it out. But all of a sudden, that little guy, so we pop up a little bit, dump down, just a little scrubby scrubs into our brush, flatten it off at the bottom, and all of a sudden you got this sort of far away looking dark little cloud out there, right? You never know what they're gonna look like until we get in here and do it. And so what if we picked up a little bit more brightness from down here, and we worked ourselves up, maybe there was another guy up into this side, just scrubbing it on, maybe you came a little flatter over here, who knows? Look at the difference, that little dip down. Then we've got a little bit of brightness up into there, right? Where's it going to go? Every time we do it, we're going to do it a little differently. So let's play around and we'll see, right? Now, they're not very easy to see at this point because if we didn't really want them, we could go back and get rid of all of them. You know what I mean? We could take them away. So if we do want to keep them, and we're like, all right, I kind of like how that's looking so far, then let's get out here with a little bit of our brighter white color onto the brush, a very small amount. You see how we can wipe it off and nothing really comes off the brush? That's because there's not really a lot onto the brush, right? Maybe out here, start to light up that little area. Bottom side, not the top side, but the bottom side. We'll allow that color to launch up, right? The more that we mix it, the darker it becomes. Spread it, push it over this way, just by a couple little, right? Little bit of counterclockwise strokes. Now what if we switch to clockwise so we can grab it and mix it up this way? Right? Mixing it, letting that light color kind of grip into little areas. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, can if you want, or you can mix it out, or you can mix it hard enough and push it into your sky color, right? Whatever you feel like doing out there is exactly what it's gonna do. Now, I just made a faux pas and dabbed my brush off on some of this light color to be onto my brush, so maybe we can go accentuate this guy, maybe have him look a little different or a little brighter. Just to our own eyeballs. And we'll come in with a big old bright guy in here. So what happens if, even with the same color, we had a big old dude up here, right? And if we didn't like it, we could just blend it away, right? But it sort of gives us an idea about how we want these clouds to look without actually having to put so much paint on the canvas, right? Then we can go back and blend it down and do all sorts of things that we want to do out there in the night. Maybe that guy came down that way. Who knows, right? Just a little crisscrossy action. And then we go make it as bright as we want them to be, right? So maybe these guys up here, come in with just a little bit of paint. Came down again. See how much? There's just so little. There's barely any brightness showing. That's what I want. I don't want there to be so much. Right? Get out here into the darkness. Then I can decide how I want it to look as it's floating across my sky. Right now, let's dab off our brush just so we can have a bit of that darkness come off there, and let's mix it. Go a little lower, a little higher, a little here, a little there, and we'll start to drop it down and around, and we're kind of leaving those gaps, right? And so it looks very cool out there. We're not trying to see so much. The sun is barely rising. It's just rising into the night. Look at that, you guys. Oh, it's fantastic, right? And remember, we don't want it to be too bright, and we don't want it to be too dark. So let's go back in with a very small little bit amount. Right? Maybe we come in here, let's just start lighting up a couple more areas. Maybe it rolls up that way. Maybe there's a little less paint, so it'll be a little darker. Maybe up in here, maybe up into there. Right? And we'll just brighten it as we see fit. Now, each time that we add this bit of brightness, it's going to add little details. If we don't mix it all the way down, right? Be a little pocket of light, a little bit of a hole almost. And if you don't like that guy, you push on him a little harder, right? Just let it blend down into that darkness. Keeping a nice edge on this side. Let's let him blend back, blend back, blend back, down. Maybe we'll push some of that color out here just to have any little bit of like an aura of just the softest bit out in the night, you guys. We don't want them to be too bright way at the top, okay? You want there to be a very little amount of paint. And then as we work down, we're going to make it brighter and brighter because our sun is way down here. He's just looking fantastic, right? Get this little bit of white. Let's go light up this little guy, just a little touch. Remember, stay along the bottom of the cloud first because we're going to work that paint up into it. We don't want there to be too much paint out there. The more we put out there, the more it's going to mix. And because we have our pinky color down here, it's going to mix down to that pinkness, that crimson-y, purpley pink that I love so much. Oh, you guys. The more you push on it, the more it's going to blend away. So we sort of decide what we want them to look like out there, catching a little bit of bright here, maybe a little bit there, not trying to allow the two colors to really touch. Right? We don't need them to touch too terribly much out there. Now, we're going to come down, add a little bit more paint onto this guy in here. So what if we right along the edge, up into it, popping it up, giving it a bit of a little crazy color, right? So you can blend, and it doesn't all have to be the same, right? We can mix it, we can push it, we can take it out, we can do whatever we want to do just by blending it away. Right? The more that we push, the more we blend. A little bit of darkness back there. Oh, guys. Oh, guys. It's supposed to be in a soft little thing. We're not supposed to have many bits of our clouds kind of showing. So we don't want them to be too bright, right? That's the whole thing. If they're too bright, we're going to be looking at them too much. And we know we don't want to see them so brightly, right? We want them to be off in the distance so we can focus on our water. Man, that's a cool looking sky though, you guys. That is a wicked sky. The happy little clouds back there, right? Somebody said that comment. So we'll go over here with our white paint. Now, you can't get this guy because Tyler's already gotten it, right? It's not there to grab. Let's come down, start a little bit lower down here. Just pop in a bit of brightness, pushing up in front of that other bit of cloud, which should push it backwards. We'll come up here, same thing, rotating, pushing, turning our little cloud into just a big old brighter mess that's down here. The more paint that we put on our canvas, the brighter it's going to be when we go back and blend it out. Let's get a nice clean brush now that we want this guy to be a bit brighter than the rest. Push it down in here, blending it downwards, letting all that light just intermix with the darker colors that are underneath. A little soft, a little here, a little there. The more you push it, the more it's going to blend away. Very cool, guys. I like this sky. Take this guy and stretch that paint out. Just stretch it as far as you can. Right now, that guy's a little bit brighter. We're going to put one more little bright guy down in here. But before we get too far away, let's grab just a small little filbert brush, a little miniature little guy. Little thing. Put a little bit of white paint right on the front of it. And let's get back here, maybe where our sun might be. Maybe it's real low on the horizon, right there. Right, so we push it and rotate that little circle around. And if we don't move our brush from the center, and we get this nice little perfect thing right on the horizon, which we're going to cut off. All right, we're going to cut that thing just in half. A little bit more brightness up into here. And just play around, right? The more that you mix it, the more it's going to all be the same, which we don't want, right? We want there to be those little differences and stuff in our clouds back there. Very cool, right? Maybe I wanted this guy to be a bit bigger down into here. Just, again, making it an odd mess, because if you work on it too much, you try to make it too perfect, then it no longer becomes fun, firstly, because you're stressing about making this cloud, right? You got these huge things growing up into the night. It's soft along the edges. Then you can go back in front of that little guy. Pop in our last little cloud that we need with a little bit of white. Just a small amount. Okay, maybe we came down through there and all of a sudden we're in here. It doesn't even have to be the same height. Pop up extra paint. It's extra bright over here. And that way, it'll help push that guy back further because we're coming up into our bright areas with this excess brightness. Over here, over there. Take our brighter brush, the one that has less paint on it anyway, and we'll mix this guy down and down and down into the darkness. The more that we push down here, the more it just looks like sky, right? Way out there, guys. Oh, man alive. That's cool. Okay, let's get into, see if we need any more bit. You know what I mean? It's like you could do so many things with your bright areas, with your dark areas. Let's get a little bit brighter back up in here. A lot of times, too, your painting is going to dry a bit darker than it looks when you got all the lights on it and all that stuff. It'll dry a little bit differently. They don't all dry the same. Look at that little guy. Oh, man. Oh, man. Get a little flat side back in here. Just a little weird thing that came out, right? You never know. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That guy back there. Little bits. Now, let's get into our Seascape section of our painting, and you guys just let me know how you like that painting so far. How do you like it? We need a little cherry 7-Up action. So initially, if you weren't here in the beginning, let me tell you what we did so far. We'll just make a quick run through, right? The canvas, when you buy them this size, they come white. So in order to make it black, you take your Liquitex black gesso, which is an acrylic black paint. It's more watery than your regular acrylic black paint. So it spreads easier, it's easier coverage, right? Let that dry all the way. All I did was put a piece of tape in here and then removed it to keep the canvas white. You can even see some of the white canvas right in here. And then I took my little scrubby pad and just kind of ombreed the black down so it wasn't so supremely dark, right? Then we can come in here and do all these things, right? And we covered it all with our clear, lit up all of our colors, put our undercolors down, and then brought our white out, and that sort of brightens everything up, right? Such a cool little thing. Another little pop in here. Bam, little things, little oddities, right? The odd bits are my favorite. Out there, even blast over our sun just a couple times back and forth just to soften him down. And then we're gonna come in, I'm telling you, with the old palette knife. If you're not used to the palette knife, you're gonna get used to it today. Right? We don't even need much more than that. At the smallest, tiniest little pile of white paint I've ever started a painting with. Because we're just gonna grab a little bit of it at a time, flatten it out completely, all the way out, nothing else there. Come in to the very edge and grab the smallest little touch we can get. And then we're gonna go right back underneath our sun and drop in a little bit of brightness. Bink! Right off of our little knife. Right? Just cutting right through the bottom. The edge of our horizon. Right? With the very light amount of paint that's out here, we can drag our knife back and forth, just crisscrossing, just here and there, just side to side. Right? And it's going to start dropping off little bits of paint. The more little bits of paint that you can get to act out there, like that, like small little things, further and further away, you get the smaller and smaller things get. Now, the more that we go over this paint right here, the more it's going to mix in with the red and take away its brightness. Right? So we want to go less and less and less and less on the brightness. Come over here, skirt just a couple little guys. Right? Nothing out there has to touch. Doesn't all have to do anything except just have a few little bits of light and dark. Right? The sun can't reach everywhere. So, have some spaces, especially way out here, that are kind of darker than the rest. And if you have a bright area, make sure you leave a little darker area in between those brighter areas. And that's really going to help us, guys. Really, really, really going to help us. What else is going to help us? If we drag some of this color back. There we go. There we go. We don't want it to be too bright, but just like that. Oh, it looks like a faraway rainstorm underneath that cloud back there. Holy cow. Okay, back in here, again, tiniest amount of paint. Because you don't need much, and it doesn't even have to be on a straight line. Get down there, maybe we dip down, maybe we roll up, it goes over here, it dips down over there. And we're just rolling off the top sides of things. Right? Just pushing that knife, dropping little baby bits. Little baby guys. We don't need them to be too crazy, and we don't want there to be too much paint because we have to then go back and brighten it up, right? And if we have too much to start, we can't brighten it up. I want to see if I can put one little tiny little indication. There we go. Just a little bit of darkness back there because it got too bright. Right? We're going to spread this guy. Real far out, real thin, rail thin. Come back in here at the very end and put our real bright section over the top of it. It's gonna be really cool. Okay, so as you're going again, smallest amount of our paint, right? And all we did this last night for the very first time, and we're just messing around, taking our time, you know what I mean? Didn't have to be perfect. It was little bits and little things, and it was over here, and then Cosmic grabbed it during the live show. And just surprised me and everybody. Because I didn't know if anybody was going to like it the way it was looking. You know what I mean? It's a very particular kind of a scene out here. A little rough water action. Come off the edge. A little bit of bright, right? I don't want the bright to be everywhere. Maybe right there on the top. Kind of in front of our little bit of our sun area. Just have that little bit of extra brightness. Right? Now, let's come down. And we'll dip down a little bit. We'll start making our like a little mustache. Maybe we got a little down like that, and we'll put our down off the other side. Just having a little peek. Same sort of thing. If we can get any amount of our paint, and again, because we're using such a small amount, right? We're dropping off the teeniest, tiniest little things you can imagine. Right? Maybe this guy went up over here. Just again, I had to push real hard just to get any amount of paint to come off of it. Over here, dragging it back a little bit. We went up, and we went down, and we went up. Right? Getting these guys up off the top, working ourselves backwards, because not every piece has to be going the same direction. That guy connected onto that guy, but because he's on the back side, he doesn't have so much paint to him. Right? Maybe in here, boop, come back, dragging little bits, almost all the way back to our next little bit of brightness, right? Popping in our little waves, always using a very small amount, especially way the heck out here on the sides. You don't need to have so much brightness way out there on the edge. It'll start to even change color, right? Because we put our crimson sort of in the middle, we're getting all these waves. As soon as you start to go out, it starts to get darker and mix in with that purpley bit back there. Just looking fantabulous. I love it. What if we came down this guy and then turned this way? Right? All of a sudden, we got little things happening back here. Scraping back and forth, side to side, popping in little bits of bright here and there, right? Not all of our waves are gonna all be going the same direction. You see how we kind of skirted around, stopped, and then started going the other way this way? Because maybe it'll eventually line up with something else. Right? Maybe that guy will come up a little bit higher and start streaking back this way. And all of a sudden, you can start deciding what you want your waves looking like, right? I kind of like that. It kind of folds over that way. Maybe we took one guy, he just fell down a little bit. Just like a little roller. That guy, just because that thing looks like an eye right here, almost like a little bit of a rolling wave as it rolls down and crashes. We could have a little splasher down in there. It'd be kind of cool. Just little things you can do, right? Get less and less and less as we go up that way. Oh, I like that. That's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. Just again, just trying some stuff out. That's all we ever do. Right? Until we go, man, that looked cool. Let's do that again. You know what I mean? Scraping over here. This guy, he's neat. I need a little bit. If I'm going to have a little wave, right, I got to have a little bit of an eye in there. So let's splash in a little bit of our water, or a little bit of our eye color. It's very light. Light little guy right in there. Then we add a bit of our fan brush, start kind of softening that guy up, just very small. You don't always have to use just your palette knife. That started looking cool though. I like that guy. He almost looks like a little double crasher, because what if we had a bit of brightness over there? Just again, a little touch. Mix that guy up a little bit. Blend it out. So it's not so bright. Right? That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool right there. And if that was all happening, I would imagine our water would be feeding back up into here, back into our little guy. We can start changing the angle a little bit too. Bang, bang, bang. Just by dropping on some mess. That's all you got to do, right? We're just dropping some mess. Just a little bit of craziness. Start coming down over here because we don't have a beach to fall back on. We're just out there in the water, right? In the water. And again, using the smallest amount. Like I haven't even gone to get more yet. This is the first time that we've gone from that very first little bit of tiniest little bit of paint to come back and get another little touch in a fresh pile. Right? Maybe this guy. I'm going to change this whole angle over here. Like that. By adding a bit more paint to it, right? Then you can go back in with your brush and start sliding him up. This guy, drag him down. Oh, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. I don't think I even need to add the. I was gonna do our little our little crashy sprays, but I like that. It's just kind of in the midst of some action. Just a little craziness. What if we came down with another little guy like this then? Just off to the side again, very lightly, making this guy look a little bit more rough. You know what I mean? Changing it up a little bit. You can always go back into here and do whatever you want. But if we came down, dragging it up, a couple little bits of our sea foam and stuffs. Right up underneath there. They're just, oh, it's cool. That's a cool one right here. Okay, now, what are we going to do with this bit, Josh? Are we going to continue to roll around, or should we flatten it off? Go down over there, and again, just making little U's. Right? Take this guy, start seeing what he would look like. Oh, I like that. Came over like this then too. Dropped him down a bit. Again, back here, we don't have so much. We don't need so much on the knife. Just want to get those smallest little flicks that go off the edge. Right? Because out there, there's not much happening. It's a bunch of craziness. Oh, I might just want to add a beach. That's starting to look so cool. Out here on the edge as well, we're going to take it with our brush and brush it back and make it a little softer, so don't worry about it. It's looking pretty neat, though. Pretty stinking neat. Come back and highlight a few little areas where I think the light might be catching a bit more, right? And then at the very end, we'll go back and put our bit back there. Very dark. More of my crimson underneath here just so we can brighten it up when we come back to that last little guy. There we go. Just that straight up crimson right over the top of all that white. Take away the brightness that I didn't like so I can go back in with a bit of brightness that I do like. And if I start tapping very small, and then I start working more and more and more of that brightness, right? See that? Just kind of first little tap, and then we start getting wider and wider. Now, you don't have to use the long side of your knife. My canvas is pretty big. But a little bit, and we start going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All of a sudden, lighting up those areas. Right? This is where you want your paint. If it isn't sticking, or if it starts to change color too much, let's get a little bit of liquid white. Right? A little bit of liquid white, a little bit of our titanium white. You can't use just one or the other. Right? Come back in here and blink, just right off the top. A little bit of brightness. Doesn't even have to be perfect. Right, this guy, right on the top of him, because he's underneath that sun, falling over the edge. Right? Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It means our next bit of brightness is going to be right down in there. If we continue on, or we put a sandy beach in right here and have that just kind of falling over so lightly. Ooh, guys. I don't know. You gotta help me out on this one. You gotta help me out. The light catching right on the top. Oh, goodness gracious. Right? You can always do all these things. Maybe you gotta come down like that. Pop up over to here. Right? Big old monster. Again, very lightly, very flat angles. Right? Taking our waves, working them back. Oh, I like that. I like that, dude. Tyler, I haven't even looked in I can't remember how long it's been since I've even been back here. Just waves. I agree. Just water, no beach. All right. You guys asked for it, man. A little bit late, but I'm about to paint along with you. That's awesome, Amanda. So you can rewind and, or maybe that's only on Facebook. I think on Facebook you could rewind back to the beginning if you wanted to watch it from the beginning. Or you have to wait until the show's over and then... Thank you, Tyler. I love you, buddy. And then you'll be able to rewatch this whole stream and paint along and stop and pause and all that stuff. It'll be fantabulous. Came up into this guy just to project our distance. And down again. They gotta become bigger and bigger as they get closer to us. Little guys, little things. Take a bit of our brightness. Dumping it in. Now, as they get bigger, as they get closer and bigger to us, we can start seeing more details. We're going to take more paint and start plopping it on and letting it mix in with those colors. Right, bringing it back. See how you had that whole big dark separator, but because we worked it sideways, right? We didn't try to go upwards like we did back here. It was like a little angle up the side. You know what I mean? We didn't try to do that. So, in order to fill up that giant space, you can do it with horizontal streaks. You know what I mean? You don't have to do everything all the same, all the time. Take this guy and even mix him up a little bit, back into that little bit of wave, just so they're not, you know, crisscrossed little lines like that. Looks like this guy, we've got a little bit of action over here. Right, he's rolling up. It's almost like roll him down. Ooh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see by the time it gets there. Right, this guy, we know we got to have more brightness off of him, feeding back into our color back in here. So we'll put a little bit of paint back there, drag it up, mess it up, connect those two bits of brightness back in there, just a little, you know what I mean? We can leave a little bit of darkness, but as long as we connect them a little bit, hey, right, got this thing out there. Getting crazy, you guys. It's all crazy. Right, just literally mushing the paint down flat. It's gonna help it dry a whole lot faster too, let me tell you that. Literally, bink, bink, bink. Get it right in there. Just off the backside of our little wave, right, to help our sunlight coming towards us. Right, underneath them. Now, we've still got all this extra room, guys. I've never done one so big. So, we're gonna continue on, right? Meaning, what have we been doing, right? We've been making little dips and then kind of branching off of those to make other little diamond shapes, right? Is all we've really been doing. So, if we need to do that again, let's find a spot to do it. Right? What if we had, I know this looks so cool as it's just rolling upwards. This would have to change and come down like that. This rolls up, just dragging up little things, little bits. Doesn't even have to go up all the way. Doesn't have to do anything, right? Now, if I'm gonna make a new little diamond, right, so we had that. First we had this guy coming down, this guy coming down. So we could break off, pop another guy in over here. Right, so we'd have a little bit of a connection space, and then fill this guy up back towards our little wave, right? Just making a mix, because that's all we gotta do. Now, from the point of this guy, we can drop down again, right? Filling up horizontally, not up like this, right? That's gonna look really weird. It's gonna look really weird. You gotta do it horizontally. And we gotta have enough paint. So let's get a little bit more of our paint, spread it out, grab a little bit more of our liquid white, just so it comes off of our knife a little easier. And so we'll mix those two piles together. And a nice kind of a sloppier version of our titanium white. You can even let the colors touch a little bit right in there, right? But start leaving a dark separator, because you have to decide where it's gonna be, and then start leaving it. Go horizontally, right? Dropping off that stuff, depositing it onto our canvas. And this guy comes all the way down, right? You never know how big it's gonna be. And you don't want to do too many crashing waves, right? Like the wave looks wicked awesome back there. But we don't want to do too many crashing waves, because then it's going to look odd, right? We just want it to be like this. Just a little guy. A little bit. Come back in, scrubbing, filling these guys in all the way up. That one little touch kind of dragging over the side, right? Little drip. All these little things you can do. Down here like this, bang. And we can know where we're going to slide back to. It's just like making one of these big waves, but just the bottom side over and over and over and over and over again. Very cool. Very cool. Well, this guy's going to streak up from the bottom over here. We don't have too much paint. We want to have that shadow back in there, and a bigger shadow means a bigger section of, like a bigger bit of wave along the back. So if you can sink your shadow back a little bit, then your wave doesn't look so humongous. I'm going to keep your front nice and dark, nice and bright. Come over the edge over here. We came up like that, and we dip down again, off to the side, and then just kind of filling up where we want, not everywhere. If we fill it everywhere, then there will be no dark spaces of anything for us to do, right? We can't do anything if there's no dark. We came down this way for the next one. Right down like that, and then we only have one more little bit that we have to fill up. So off of this side again, horizontal, and if we want to be up here, we gotta go horizontally from back there, dude. Like way back there. Remember, we don't want it to be so bright all the way to the edge. So bright is bad. So if we have too much brightness, let's take it and get rid of it by mixing it up more. Right? The more we scrub at it, the more it will mix in with that purple and not be as bright. And then we only got one more little section to do. Well, two. We'll get one more little wave down here too. So the last bit of our titanium white with a little bit of liquid white just to soften it down. And remember, you guys have to start coming up with a title for this painting for Tyler. You got to come up with a title right now. Because he gets to choose what his painting is called by the time we get done with it, right? Let's see. Oh man. This one's coming out good. This one, I was going to put a little beach in there. Thank you, Becca R. Appreciate you. Sailor's Delights, really cool. Please make a ship. Not in this one. This is just an open water, little roughery. A little rough sheen in the open water. Way back here, I'm just going to put in a couple more little bits of brightness because it's a bit too dark in that one spot. It can get darker as it goes out, right? We just don't want it to be too dark in any real area. It doesn't have to be so dark. There we go. Now, get in a little bit of our white. Let's say we had this guy, right? We were coming in, pushing real hard, so we got that bit of ridge on the front of our wave up there, and then just kind of dragging it backwards up towards our little guy. It doesn't have to be so bright, right? We don't need it all over the place. Maybe it went up over here, like that, and then get down again off the other side. I'm about breaking my knife over here, just for you guys. Light bit of color down around the bottom. It's very dark down here in the front. We're the furthest away from our sun that we can possibly be. And so, you can have bigger dark separators. You can do bigger things. You can do all sorts. Let's take the last little bit. Just pretend like there was a bit of something in here dragging up from our next little piece of water out there. Right? Just blowing in the wind, you guys. Blowing in the wind. More color out here. Just a touch. Touchery. A little bit. A little bit. Oh man, that is so. I love it. I love it. Hey, right? Way out there. Little things. Little bits. We need some more bit of brightness right in there. Just a little touch, right? And then we'll go in with our liquid white and our titanium white. Have any left? I'm going to get out here and make this guy. There's one bit. There it was, right there. Okay. Now, liquid white, titanium white. We know we got it down there, so we'd have a brighter spot down in here. Just tap in a little bit, just so it sticks and it doesn't blend away, right? Then we got that last little bink of our sunlight tapped onto the front of our little edge over here. Don't want to blend it away too much. That's cool, though. I like that, guys. So, start coming up with a title. Come up with a title. What do you think of this little guy? Right? What would you call it if it was your painting? Literally scraping at it, doing all things necessary to get that color just to get up there the slightest little bit. So we don't want it up there too much. Too much color up there is bad. Scrape up this little guy just a little. Just so he's got some color too. He was feeling lonely down there in the bottom, right? Look at that, dude. Dude, sugar. Now look, what do we use? Literally. We only used 2 1-inch brushes, 1 fan brush, 1 filbert brush, and 1 palette knife. That's limited tools for you. If I ever done did seen limited tool. That's limited tool. Now, if you wanted to take your 2-inch brush, if you had any place that was a bit too thick or whatever, right? You can very lightly just graze, and I'm talking about just like just as softly as possible. Oh my God, so soft. Because that stuff's got liquid white in some areas, right? We don't want it to move too much. Very light little touch. Hey! Woo! Oh! Look, I'm talking about we barely touched it, right? Grazed it. Tree hairs and some air on that guy. Trio hairs and some airs. So, one more brush if you wanted to use it. But Don't have to. Look at that little dude. I like it. I like it. The Siren's Call. You guys start coming up with some titles. All right. Tyler got this one way before the show even started. So he gets to choose the title. Now this guy's a little bit too bright for old Joshy. Let's drag some of that brightness around. Let it blend in a little bit. There we go. Here we go. Bring it down here. Right? Everything along the edge of our canvas gets softened. So, if we needed to, drag it back. Just with a little bit more pressure on our edge. Right? And all of a sudden, it makes you focus right there into the center. So, you guys start coming up with a title for this one. I'm going to throw the old bird family in there. And then, we'll get up on out here. And guys, literally, you don't need any plaque. I mean, I could sign it in purple. We could have purple birds and not even need black, but I usually sign them in either plaque or black paint. So that's what we'll do today. But literally, red, purple, crimson, blue, white. That's it. That's it. You don't even need the plaque colors, man. Not all of them anyway. Just a couple. Just a couple out there. Now down into the brightness. You go, caca. Just flying in the night. Man. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. They're coming towards our boat, dude. Now, I would think that this may look like, you know, you could be sailing north or south. Maybe we're sailing towards the sun. Maybe we're sailing away from it. Right? So, you guys come up with a title, because that's not up to me. Thankfully, when when a painting sells, I don't have to title it, because you guys are there to help me out. You're there to help out. Bang, just like that. Whew! I like this little crasher, and we didn't even use a fan brush or anything. It was just a little touch of the knife with the smallest amount of paint possible. Now, that's about as close to a recreation of a painting, because I'm sitting over here looking at Cosmic Lighthouse's painting from the other night, which is why this one came out so gorgeously, because I had something to look at. Over here, stormy seas. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the comments about how beautiful it is. I love you guys. Yeah, we can show the other one for sure. We could Gone Fishing. That's a cool little title out there. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Debbie. Charlene White and Jeanette and Penny over there. Thank you guys over on Facebook. Pink Skies Sailor's Delight. That's pretty cool, dude. Pretty cool, but it's not up to me. Luckily, I don't have to choose. Whose is whose? Add the Titanic. Thank you, Andrew. Bob was actually my grandpa's cousin, believe it or not. Just believe it or not. Man, I like that. It's just so dark on the edges. Well, at least the back edge. The furthest away from the sun. Gorgeous. Thank you, Broken Leg Vinyl by Sherry. Love ya. Brooke Coop says Ocean Song for a title. So, you guys over on YouTube and Facebook, you guys have been amazing. Literally, I love yous. I love yous all. There's not even much to clean up after a show like this besides the brushes. So, all I gotta do is clean up 3-4 brushes. And we'll be needing a title after that. Then we'll do an awesome light party. So if you've never seen a Paint with Josh light party, this will be a really good painting to do it on, because all the colors will just change. It's gonna be awesome. Literally gonna be awesome. And then we'll show Cosmic's painting from last night, which was the catalyst, the #1 of the series of open water paintings. It's over here though. I gotta let me finish cleaning the brushes first. Just give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds, we'll clean off the brushes. And then we'll show the #1 of the open water series. And that one was like, I was in the zone, just like, ooh, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And it just came out so perfectly, and it looks like we're, like, you know the wake that a boat makes when it's like if we were sailing away from the sun, you would see all that wake, all the churning, bubblingness, almost like a kraken is about to reach its arm up out of the water and grab us off of our ship. I love that. I love that, you guys. Is there paint on this brush or no? I can't tell. Yes, no, let's just give it an old. Sometimes you don't have to dip it. You just gotta beat it, right? Right out into, just like Michael Jackson. He used to tell us all. And that'll knock the paint off the brush without having to dip it into the paint thinner. You know what I mean? You don't always have to dip it into the paint thinner, that's for sure. Now remember guys, this one's a much bigger canvas too. So the bigger canvas that you get, the more space you're gonna have to let stuff grow. Right? When you're on a smaller canvas, if you made this same size wave on a smaller canvas, it would be this big in comparison to the size. You know what I mean? So, always scale up, scale down. I'm always looking like, okay, how far is it from here? It's probably like, I don't know how many inches that is. Maybe like 100. No. Maybe like 9, maybe 8 inches worth. I have a tape measure over here somewhere. But I always like trying to measure things out. Like, okay, where did Josh start the top of his clouds? Or how far did they go down? Well, they went down about 7 inches, right? Then we gave it about an inch gap before we started the new one, which took up about 2 inches. Another little minuscule gap, and then we started the next one, the next one, the next one. You know what I mean? Where are they at over here? How far was his horizon up? 9 inches, I told you. I told you. So, what do we got for a chidle? An old chidle. And then we'll do a wicked awesome light party. Should we do the light party first, and then we'll pick a title? Can I send you mine when I'm finished? Absolutely, Amanda. You can send it to me on Facebook or on Instagram. My Instagram is instagram.com/paintwithjoshk, right? And then my Facebook is facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh. The real one. Me, the real person. The official Paint with Josh. Right? That's kind of cool. All the squids. Yeah, official Paint with Josh, but all one word. As the light fades. That's a cool title. What canvas? This is a 24-inch by 30-inch. So it's big. You know what I mean? It's a big old monster. 24 inches this way, 30 inches this way, and it's that big gallery canvas, the big thick-sized ones. So, should we do a light party real quick? Or should we name it first? What are we doing, Ty Brad Bob? You're cracking me up. That's funny. That's funny. I know, is Tyler even here? You guys are amazing. Remember, if you're watching over on YouTube, Waves of Warmth. If you're watching over on YouTube, then give us a thumbs up. The more thumbs ups we have, the better it is for the video. Believe it or not, it's true, man. So, get those thumbs up going over there. Take this guy out. Blink. Pop it out down here. This one's so big. There we go. Big old monster. He's a monster over here. Like this. Paint Josh original. Number 1629. We're calling it Waves of Warmth. There we go. Almost misspelled it. This one was painted on 12/30 of 2023. We're all going to go to paintwithjosh.com because it's the bestest place ever. Now, let's do a wicked awesome light party, and then we'll say goodbye to the YouTube crew and the Facebook crew and everybody else. And bang. It's my Friday, you guys. I'm in a good mood on Friday. So, here is the light party. If you've never seen a light party before, the screen's going to flash with lights. It's going to go crazy and change all the colors of the painting, right? So, if you're sensitive to light, turn your phone away for about the next 30 to 60 seconds. If you are going to stay and watch the light party happen on the screen, then type the words, "I'm ready," and hit send into the comments, right? So, I'm ready. And then get ready, because I want you to tell me the first thing that flashes for you, right? The very first thing, or the brightest thing, or the thing that catches your eye the most, right? So type it into the comments, type I'm ready, and then get ready to tell me what's the very first brightest part that shows, right? Oh, Michael Clark, not ready. All right, guys, let's do a light party. We're gonna count it down in 3, 2, 1. Light party! Whoop, there we go. There we go. We got it. Look at that. Oh, all the different changes. What pops for you the most? Type it into the comments below. Isn't that so neat? The sun reflection. The sunset. Right? The clouds, the horizon. Where's the thing that catches your eye? Boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. I did paint that, in fact. That's so cool. Right, now, the light party is now concluded, but would you want to see what it looks like in just solid different lights, right? So we tried it last night with just red lights, and then just blue lights, and then just green lights to see how it looked. Would you guys want to see that? Yes or no? Just type it into the comments. Yes. We got a lot of yeses. The clouds, the sunset. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate you. All right, so let's see. We got lots of people seeing. Let's see. And if you said you didn't get here in time, don't worry. You can watch this one on YouTube all day long after we end the show, right? Let's bring this guy down to the red lights, where we only have red light shining on the canvas. Look at that. Oh, man. Don't worry, you guys can go rewatch it over on YouTube. As soon as we finish it, it'll be available to rewatch. Look at that thing. Whoo! I don't think I could ever make a painting that red. You know what I mean? Because it's just all hitting with that red light. Now, let's see what it looks like in blue light. Just like that. A little crazier. Right? Even that, I don't think I could ever paint one that blue. Isn't that crazy? Love the blue. That's an ice cold blue, right? Now, what if we did just greenery? We'll swap these guys for the green. Still looks pretty cool in just that green. That blue, though. Right, the green. Everybody loves the green. I like the regular colors the most, you guys. Just for me, you know, I like the regulars. Okay, so let's bring our lights back down. Bring this guy back up. There you go. Should be just about right. Turn our other light on over here so we can get some. There we go. There we go. All right. I mean, look at the purpley pinky, though. Oh, man, my back. Okay, so you guys over on Facebook and over on YouTube, you've all been amazing. I can't wait to see your versions of this painting. Please send it in to facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh or instagram.com/paintwithjoshk at the end, right? So, until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day, and blah, pow, boom, guys. Oh, I love a good show like